Hello and welcome to Alter Albums. In this video we'll go over low resolution warnings and how to address them. To begin with, why is resolution important? Without getting bogged down in too much detail, the requirements to print an image are far greater than they are to display it on a device or even on a computer monitor. Our software takes the guesswork out of this for you. If you do not see a warning, there is no concern with an image as it relates to resolution. However, if an image falls below the acceptable threshold, if pixelation becomes a concern, a warning will be plainly presented for you in the software. So let's add an image where that would be displayed. Here we've added an image we like. We'd like it to be presented large across 2 pages if possible. However, we're presented with a warning. The acceptable threshold is 150 or above to print. Here we see a DPI warning of 127. This image is very likely to pixelate in printed form. However, the image is one that displays just fine on smart devices, computer. It's only a problem when we start to try to print this particular image at a larger size, and that's where the warning becomes important. So how to address the problem when it presents itself? A great place to start is to click this link here within the warning, which brings up a pop-up which really gives you all the detail you require to address this. In summary, the pop-up message will convey that the image is too small, too low resolution to print at the size it's being used in the software. Depending on how small the image is, you can sometimes use a smaller frame within the design and it will no longer fall below the threshold. We'll try that in a moment. And oftentimes the only answer is to obtain a full-size image from the photographer. Cameras over the last decade will provide a full-size image that can easily be used in any layout within our albums without a resolution concern. So you might ask, if that's the case, how do we arrive at situations where the image is not large enough to print? Often we'll hear comments like this: my photographer says they are high resolution. My photographer says they are big enough. The answer is that every photographer has their own workflow process, and many do not provide the full-size image, but rather a scaled-down version. They can still be high resolution, but only be able to be printed up to a certain size. There are a variety of reasons why a photographer may elect to do this, which I will not get into here. But for purpose of displaying images on electronic devices, computers, phones, tablets, the scaled-down images will work just fine. The issue only comes into play when you're trying to print them at larger sizes. If you do need a larger image, many photographers will provide one without issue. You just have to ask. So with that said, let's go through a couple ways of trying to deal with this particular problem without, assuming that we aren't able to get a larger image from the photographer. So we'll go ahead and close out of this pop-up. And the first thing we might try is, I'd like to see if I can still make this across 2 pages, but let me pick a layout that has a frame, and maybe the frame will help. So this new layout will be presented just to the right of the page we're working on. Let's add that image here. And while it didn't eliminate the warning, we can see it moved it in the right direction, and we went from 127 DPI to 141. We're closer to 150, but not quite there. There's a good chance that this image still would have some slight pixelation if we used it. So again, assuming I'm not able to get a larger version of this image from my photographer, I need to try to handle this on my own. So I would return again to the Add Pages menu, and I might just look for a layout that allows me to present that particular image large, but I may have to use another image alongside it. So this would be a good example. This is going to require 2 images, but I do have a large frame to use that particular image in. So again, the new layout is presented just to the right of the one we're working on. Find our image, drag it in there, no warning. If we zoom, it takes us into warning territory. So we'll leave it the size it's at. Now again, I'm forced to find an image that I feel is suitable to go in this frame next to it, but it does allow me to use this image in a fairly large size and eliminate the concern about resolution and printing. One last note, if I could. Should you submit an order if you see warnings in your project? The short answer is that you really should not. We will not print any album ordered with warnings within it. We would contact you and have the issue addressed before we proceed. So it's best to address these before you actually go through the process of ordering. You can contact us at support@alteralbums.com or catch us online in chat, and we can help with this if you need assistance. I hope this was helpful. It concludes this video, and thank you for choosing Alter. Enjoy making your album.